It is finally fight week for the most anticipated fight of the year. Khamzat Chimaev will be facing Dricus du Plessis this weekend at UFC 319 in Chicago. I'm going to be giving you guys my quick picks, my quick predictions. Before we go ahead and get into it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's start it off with the early prelim opener of Alibi Idris versus Joseph Morales. This was just added to the card. Very weird fight to be added to this card. We didn't need this fight added to the card. Alibi Idris is a prospect out of Kazakhstan, and Joseph Morales, if you guys ever remember, this guy was in the UFC for a while ago, and he fought Davison Figueiredo, got destroyed, got TKO'd, then fought another bum and lost a split decision, got cut, but he's back somehow. I'm not even sure if this is correct, but I went on the UFC website. Obviously, they didn't have these matchups here, so now I'm on Tapology, but I don't know if this fight is actually happening or not, but it seems to be the prelim opener. Early pick, I'm just going to go Alibi Idris. I was looking at a couple of his clips. He looks like a decent fighter. I think he's going to grapple. I think he's going to wrestle here. And I think Joseph Morales will just be on his back for the majority of this fight. The early pick is going to be Alibi Idris by decision or by KO. We move on, though. Karine Silva versus Dion Barboza. Karine Silva had like two opponents, which as you can see here, she was supposed to fight JJ Aldrich, but Aldrich had to pull out. And now we've got Dion Barboza facing her on short notice. Dion Barboza is actually pretty good. I rate Dion Barboza as a decent 125er. And, in her last fight, she destroyed that bum that she was meant to beat. She was a massive favorite. Beat her in the first round by arm triangle, if I remember. And Karine Silva lost her last fight to a vet in Vivian Araujo. I think it was Vivian Araujo. Pretty sure, but she got out grappled in that fight. This one's going to be interesting. I do lean Karine Silva. I think she's got more experience. I think she is the better fighter. I think she will get her grappling off in this matchup, but it's going to be close. Honestly, both of them have good BJJ. They both have good wrestling, and it's just going to depend on who's more physical in there. Dion Barboza is a pretty physical girl, especially at 125. So I think this is going to be close. I'm going to go Karine Silva by split decision as the early pick. I think this is going to be a very close fight, this one here. I think it's going to go the distance, and I think it's going to be a split decision or, a very chalky, unanimous decision where we're like, how is that a unanimous decision? We'll see. I'm going to go Karine Silva by decision as the early pick, though. Kind of sketchy. There's a lot of sketchy fights on this card that could be pick'ems that aren't, but they should be. I mean, I'm going with my gut on this card. There's a lot of fights that could be 50-50. I see a lot of these fights being 50-50 here, like this one. Nursultan Ruziboyev versus Brian Battle. Very close fight. Very tough fight to predict. You're going to expect Nursultan Ruziboyev to walk forward. The dude's got over 45, almost 50 fights in mixed martial arts, and the dude, I think he's like 30. He's got like an insane amount of fights in his record. Obviously, they're not against the best competition, but a lot of fights, a lot of experience. And Brian Battle is solid. He won, I believe he won tough. I forget which season it was, but he's on a decent little run right now. He aura farmed in France when he knocked out that Frenchman and had an insanely viral moment on the mic. And that kind of gained him a lot of fans, a lot of followers and stuff. But then he had an absolute bum fight in his last one against Randy Brown where he barely won that fight. I don't even think he did win that fight. It was kind of a robbery by split decision. He shouldn't have won it. He just clinched up against the fence the entire fight. And I think that's what he's going to do here. I'm not going to lie. Nursultan Ruziboyev is the taller fighter by far. He's very tall for the division. He's like 6'5", I think. He's like 6'5". He's insanely tall. Easy to take down for the most part. We saw that when he fought Joaquin Buckley. Got taken down like crazy. Nursultan just fought, Dustin Stoltzfus, and got taken down and almost got choked out in that fight. He was this close to being subbed by a guillotine choke. I think it was in the first or the second round. Very, very sketchy waters for Nursultan because of the fact that he's so tall, he's so lengthy, he's easy to take down, easy to catch limbs on. And I think Brian Battle, if he's got the right game plan, he's just going to take Nursultan down, clinch him up against the fence, keep this fight very close where he can't get outstruck on the feet, at range, at distance. Don't let Nursultan get his kicks off. Don't let him get his straight right. Nursultan finishes every single fight with his right hook or his straight right down the pipe. That's usually his power shot. So as long as Brian Battle keeps this fight close range and, has a good game plan, I think he wins it. Most likely by decision. I'm going to go Brian Battle as the quick pick. By decision, I'm going to say he clinches up against the fence, gets a takedown or two. per round and just gets a decision, plays it safe here. I don't see him getting a flashy knockout or a finish over Nursultan Ruziboyev. I see him just trying to play it safe, get the decision win, and just show that he's the better wrestler here. So I'm going to go Brian Battle as the quick pick. We move on. Edson Barboza, Drakkar Klose. Edson Barboza on the prelims, man. Good to see Edson Barboza on this card. Probably one of his final fights. And it's a tough one to predict. Edson Barboza, Drakkar Klose is a very tough fight to predict because Edson's near the end of his career. He's 39 years old, taking a lot of damage, taking a lot of brutal beatdowns. In his last fight, nobody wants to accept it, but Lerone Murphy put hands on Edson Barboza, pieced him up, outstruck him by an insane margin, put hands on him for 5 rounds straight, and Edson was getting pieced up. I don't know how he stayed in that fight for the whole 5 rounds. Obviously, Murphy has no finishing capability. We'll talk about him later on the card, but Edson Barboza got pieced up in that fight, got destroyed. He took a long time off. He's been taking time off in between his fights, and I'm a little bit worried with him in this fight, but I do think that he will have the better striking than Drakkar Klose. Klose, every time I see Klose fight, I'm like, how is this dude not constantly getting KO'd? Just like when he fought in his last fight against Joel Alvarez. Drakkar Klose is just fighting wide stance. He looks like he's so chinnable. He looks like he's so KO'able. And I'm a little bit worried that Drakkar Klose is going to have his chin up, going to be getting kicked nonstop. I think Edson Barboza needs to utilize the kicks. He needs to weaponize his kicks nonstop throughout this fight. He better be using those kicks. And that's the reason I'm going to be picking Edson Barboza. I think he's going to be leg kicking off the get-go, body kicks, slamming them, head kicks as well. And I could see him catching Drakkar Klose with the head kick and putting him out cold. I'm going Edson Barboza as a quick pick. I'm going round 2, head kick KO, or maybe body shot, a liver shot, drops Drakkar Klose and finishes him. He did it to Dan Hooker earlier in his career. I think he can do it here. And he's at 155 where he doesn't have to cut as much weight. I am worried, though, that the age has caught up to Edson, but I am going to ride with him here. Give me Edson Barboza as the quick pick by KO. We move on to the next fight, Alexander Hernandez versus Chase Gunnar Hooper. Chase Hooper's back, man. You already know. Love me some Chase Hooper fights. Chase Hooper is the next Charles Oliveira. All right, I'm saying it, man. He's the next Charles Oliveira. Skinny, lengthy kid, on the come up, slowly making his way up now. And he's getting bigger. He's getting better. His skills are getting better. His grappling is insane. His submission skills are great. He's been beat up before in fights, but I don't see Alexander Hernandez beating him up, putting a beating on him, and putting hands on Chase Hooper. I think Chase Hooper is going to take this to the ground early. I think he's going to search and hunt for a submission, and I think he's going to find it in the early round. Round 1, I'm going to call Chase Hooper round 1 or round 2 submission. I think he pulls it off, man. I think he's going to go straight to the grappling, straight to the submission, what he's great at. His ground game is great. He's going to get top position. I could see him getting maybe a crucifix, hunting for a leg, maybe trying to find a leg lock or something. But in the end, I think Chase Hooper is going to get a submission in this fight. I don't see Alexander Hernandez being on the level of Chase Hooper. Obviously, Chase Hooper's last fight, it was sketchy a little bit. He was facing Jim Miller. He should have subbed Jim Miller, but Jim Miller has years and years and years of experience. The dude knows how to defend submissions, and Chase Hooper dominated the grappling. I think he's going to dominate Alexander Hernandez in the grappling, who arguably didn't really win his last fight or the fight before that. Alexander Hernandez should be on like a 4 or 5 fight losing streak right now, but he got lucky, got some takedowns, but I don't think he's going to get takedowns on Chase Hooper, and if he does, he's got to worry about the BJJ. So give me Chase Hooper as a quick pick by submission in round 1 or round 2. We move on to the next fight, though. Jessica Andrade facing Lupita Godinez, man. Jeez. Tough fight to predict. Very tough fight to predict. I watched Jessica Andrade's last performance in person in Montreal. I watched that fight, and she got subbed immediately by Jasmine Jasudavicius. It was just immediate. She got dominated. She did. She got dominated completely and utterly. Jasmine picked her up, slammed her down, got the rear naked choke in round 1 in like a minute. Okay, so there's not much to look at with Jessica Andrade. She's a brawler. She's big. She's bulky. She throws big hands, big shots. Big looping shots. And Lupita Godinez is going to want to wrestle in this fight. She's going to want to go for the takedown. She's going to want to smother Jessica Andrade. And I'm a little bit worried that Lupita is going to get caught in the stand-up. She's not going to be able to get the takedowns. And I do think Jessica Andrade can put on one of those beatings that like Mackenzie Dern put on Lupita Godinez, that other women have put on Godinez and have just kept her in the stand-up. And when Godinez is standing up and she's striking with a decent striker, she struggles. She struggles bad. I think Jessica Andrade could put hands on Godinez, maybe find a finish, but most likely just beat her up for 3 rounds. I'm going to go Jessica Andrade as the quick pick by decision. Very sketchy, very tough one to predict, but I see this being a 50-50. I don't see either one dominating the other. I think it's going to be a close fight. It's going to go the distance, and it's just going to depend on who did the more damage and who landed the bigger shots. I think Jessica Andrade will do that. So give me Jessica Andrade as the quick pick. We move on. Gerald Meerschaert, Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. GM3 is back in the business. He's back in the building, and he's in Chicago. Tough one to fight, though, with Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. He's got hands, throws big shots, power shots. His last one, he KO'd, the guy in prison? I forget his name. But Gerald Meerschaert, he's got the most submissions in middleweight. That's correct, right? He's got the most submissions in middleweight now. He's been around for a long time. He's been fighting forever, and he still pulls off these submissions. Against Edmund Shabazian, the comeback submission in round 3. He's done this. He lost to a Rainer de Ritter, but that fight has aged amazingly because GM3 was in there for a long time against Rainer de Ritter, who is dangerous, and he was putting hands on Rainer de Ritter as well. I think this is a close fight. It comes down to, can Mikhail defend the submission attempts? Can he stay on his feet? And I do kind of believe that Mikhail will stay on the feet. He's been training with the Fighting Nerds. I think his takedown defense is the only thing he's going to be working on in this fight. And that's the only thing I think he needs to, because I think his striking is levels above GM3. Even though I love GM3 and I want him to win and I'll be rooting for him, I'm a little bit worried that Mikhail is going to land one of those big hooks, drop GM3, and finish him on the ground. Early on, I think he's going to put the gas on GM3, put the pedal to the metal on GM3, and just lay hands on him. So give me Mikhail Oleksiejczuk by round 1 KO. I think GM3 is kind of just going to be overwhelmed a little bit early on. So give me Mikhail as the quick pick. We move on. King Green versus Diego Ferreira. To me, this is the most difficult fight to predict on the entire card. I'm back and forth on this one. Now, you're going to be like, whoa, how can you not pick Diego Ferreira? How are you having difficulty deciding here? Everybody's going to be picking Diego Ferreira, but rewatching Ferreira's fights, rewatching, the way that he fights, I think King Green is going to be the way faster striker. I think he's going to be the faster striker. I think he's going to have more pop in his shots. And as long as he is moving at a good speed, as long as he's keeping the speed up, the movement up, the footing, where am I getting at, man? Where am I even getting at right now? I don't even know why I'm trying to make a case for Bobby Green. As long as he is able to pop that jab, pop his shots, be the quicker fighter out there, be the cleaner striker, I think he wins this fight. I think he is the cleaner striker than Diego Ferreira. Ferreira's got more dog in him, and his chin is better. But his last fight, he got dropped by Rebecca bad early on. He got dropped bad. Bobby Green is surprisingly the bigger fighter here. He's a taller one. He doesn't have the longer reach, but I think he will be the better striker. And I'm a little bit worried that Diego Ferreira might get hit hard and drop. I'm a little bit worried King Green might actually drop Diego Ferreira here. So early pick, I'm going to go King Green. I know it's crazy. I know it is. Very difficult to trust the guy. Very, very difficult. But his last 2 fights were against absolute killers on the come up. Paddy Pimblett subbed him immediately. Dangerous dude. Looked like he was 2 weight classes above King Green. And then he just fought Mauricio Rufy with literally insane striking, cleanest wheel kick ever. I mean, fast hands, way bigger than King Green. I think this is a favorable matchup for King Green. He's the younger fighter. He's the faster fighter. And I think he can get his shots off in this, kind of like a King Green versus Jim Miller. I think this might be a similar matchup where Jim Miller was a slower fighter, right? And King Green was just able to pop his shots, clean shots, just pop, 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 pop the jab, hook, jab, just pop him in the head clean. I think that's what he needs to do for 3 rounds here. And I don't see Ferreira really getting a takedown. He's not hunting for takedowns in his fights usually. So give me King Green as the quick pick. All that to be said, give me King Green as the quick pick. This has got to be my longest breakdown for this fight because, this one is the most back and forth one to me. This is a 50-50 completely. I'm taking King Green as the quick pick. We move on. Tim Elliott, Kaya Sakura. Going to make this one quick. I think Tim Elliott coming back right now is a terrible time. I think he's going to get KO'd brutally by Kaya Sakura in the first round. I think Kai's going to come out flying knee, maybe a head kick, maybe an uppercut, something insane, something quick, something fast, something dangerous, something hard. And I think he's going to land hard on Tim Elliott and knock him out cold. I'm predicting there's going to be one flash KO on this card where it's an insane knockout, cold knockout. Last weekend, it was Elijah Smith just slamming Toshiomi Kazama. Disgustingly cold knockout. I think this one's going to be Kai Asakura. I think he's going to flatline KO Tim Elliott in the first round. Tim is old. He's inactive. Kai's hungry. He's got the knockout power. He's got a bunch of knockouts. It's either he knocks you out or he gets finished. I don't see Tim Elliott getting the grappling off and subbing him. Kai Asakura's first loss by sub was to Pantoja, the champion. This is a massive layup compared to fighting Pantoja. So I think Kai Asakura is going to go out there, no fear, run him down the first round and knock him out cold. Give me Kai Asakura by first round flatline TKO. We move on to the main card. Oh, I guess that this is on the main card. Sorry, this is opening up the main card. Moving on to the next fight of the main card. Jared Cannonier versus Michael Venom Page. Pretty good fight. Pretty good fight. Weird matchup almost. It seems a little odd, but it is a good fight. You know, Jared Cannonier, he's getting up there in age. He had a great bounce back win in his last one against Rodriguez. I was cheering him on like crazy. Big comeback win. Knocked him out in the third or the fourth round, I believe. Some beautiful pressure by him. Was just able to break him throughout 5 rounds. Just out cardio him and weaponize his cardio. But this is a 3-round fight. Michael Venom Page necessarily isn't, he isn't necessarily the youngest fighter. They are both decently old, but I do think Michael Venom Page is just faster. Stylistically, this is a bad matchup for Jared Cannonier. Michael Venom Page is fast. He's bouncing around. He's popping you with shots. I think Jared Cannonier might be just a tad bit too slow, just a little bit too slow to catch Michael Venom Page. Now, don't get me wrong. If MVP does start bouncing around and, trying to play around and doesn't respect Jared Cannonier, Cannonier will flatline him for sure. But I do believe MVP will be a bit safe, and he's just going to play at range, tap those shots, blitz in, big overhand right, connect, and then back out. I think it's going to be a decision win for Michael Venom Page. I don't think this one's going to be the most exciting fight, but hopefully Jared Cannonier can pull off the upset, because I do love me a Jared Cannonier win in the big 2025. We move on, though, to the next fight, Jeff Neal versus Carlos Prates. This is a fun fight. This should have been on, 313 or 314. It got moved. And Carlos Prates obviously fought Ian Gary on short notice, ended up losing that fight, but he's bouncing back here, fighting Jeff Neal. Jeff Neal, tough, heavy-handed, big power in his hands, good boxing, solid fundamentals, good footwork, but he does have a problem mixing it up. He doesn't kick enough. He doesn't defend his body enough. That's a bit of an issue. Jeff Neal's a good boxer, but MMA skills are going to be on the side of Carlos Prates. I think Prates is going to be the better kicker. He's going to be throwing kicks. He's going to be throwing head kicks, body kicks, leg kicks, knees up the middle. The knees are going to be money. They are going to be absolute money against Jeff Neal, who shells up. Very, very strong, good shell. He's got a good shell, but it's a boxing shell, and he doesn't defend his body. I think Carlos Prates is going to be coming in, big knees to the body, and I think he could finish Jeff Neal with those knees. Give me Carlos Prates as the quick pick by KO in the second round, probably by just beating him down with some straight rights, and then once Jeff Neal shells up and he doesn't see Carlos Prates blitzing in, Carlos will blitz in, big knee, drop Jeff Neal with that knee, and finish him on the ground. Give me Carlos Prates by KO in the second round as the quick pick. We move on to the co-main event. A little bit of a weird co-main, but honestly a solid one. Aaron Pico finally making his debut in the UFC. Long time coming. He was supposed to fight Evloev. That fight was canceled. It was supposed to be in Abu Dhabi. I'm glad he's fighting Lerone Murphy instead, because this is a better fight. This is a better match for Aaron Pico. I think Pico's got great wrestling. He's got good power. He's young. He's still only 28 years old. I thought he was older. He's had a long career so far in the PFL. He's destroying dudes. I think he was in Bellator as well. What am I saying? I mix up all the other organizations. I'm not good with the other organizations. But Aaron Pico's done good in MMA so far, and now he's finally transitioning over to the UFC. I think he's going to do good in this matchup, but I'm a bit worried that Pico is fighting a decision merchant who just knows how to get it done. Lerone Murphy's a decision merchant. He's Leon Edwards 2.0. He's Jocelyn Edwards 2.0. No, not even Jocelyn Edwards. They are all related. They are all related. Lerone Murphy, Jocelyn Edwards, and Leon Edwards are somehow all related. I know it. They're all related. But Lerone Murphy is a decision merchant without a doubt. He knows how to win a fight by decision. He's done it multiple times in 5-round fights. He's done it in 3-round fights. He's beat Dan Ige. He's beat Edson Barboza, and most recently Josh Emmett. And all those 3 dudes are powerful punchers. They are powerful hitters, and he's defended against their power properly. He has been dropped, don't get me wrong, but he has been able to neutralize the power, slow down the pace, pop his shots, get some grappling exchanges off, land the right shots, land some nice elbows. In his last fight, he was piecing up Josh Emmett with elbows every time he'd crash in. When Aaron Pico crashes in, I think Lerone Murphy will land those elbows. I think he's going to land some nice shots on Aaron Pico, and Pico's going to have to make it dirty to win this fight. But I think Lerone Murphy is going to have his way. He's going to make it clean. He's going to shut down Aaron Pico in round 2 and round 3. I think Aaron Pico is going to drop Lerone Murphy in round 1. He's going to stun him, drop him in round 1, going to have him in all sorts of trouble. I think Aaron Pico wins round 1. Lerone Murphy wins round 2, round 3 for a unanimous decision. I think Lerone Murphy's going to win this fight by decision, unfortunately. Lerone is good at what he does. He is 35. He is the older fighter, but he's good at what he does. He gets it done. He is literally Leon Edwards 2.0, and I think he's going to beat Aaron Pico. The new guys coming into the UFC from Bellator, from PFL, from all these different organizations have not been doing good, and I don't think Aaron Pico is going to do any better. So give me Lerone Murphy by decision as the quick pick. We move on to the main event, baby. To the main event that we've all been waiting for. The fight of the year. The most anticipated fight of the year, in my opinion. Dricus du Plessis faces Khamzat Chimaev this weekend at UFC 319. This is a banger. This is a certified banger. This is one of those ones where you're like, I genuinely don't know how this is going to play out. Because Khamzat Chimaev has been running through dudes for the past 4-5 years now. He's been running through them, submitting them left and right and choking them out and knocking them out and finishing them in dominant fashion and, destroying guys that are legends. He beat Usman by decision, pieced him up. Beat Gilbert Burns by decision, pieced him up as well. But those were close fights. They were close fights, but they were at 170. I think the one with Usman was catchweight at 185, I believe. I think it was just at 185. But Khamzat's had a couple close fights, and then other fights he's had dominance. Against Whitaker, dominated him. Against other dudes, he's dominated. So this is a close fight. It's a very tricky fight to predict. Dricus du Plessis, on the other hand, has just the goofiest style. The amount of memes surrounding the way DDP is going to win are too funny. I love them. And I think DDP is going to win. I've made a video already breaking down this fight, saying it's a mismatch, and it is because Dricus du Plessis has the most awkward, unorthodox style that you cannot prepare for. Khamzat's double leg, Khamzat's single leg cannot prepare for the tomfoolery that DDP is going to bring. I am solely picking Dricus du Plessis because of his awkwardness, because of his grit, because of the way he bites down on the mouthguard, because of his durability. He got pieced up by Adesanya in that fight and just thugged it out. He straight up thugged it out. He plot armored through everything. I think Dricus du Plessis can plot armor through round 1, round 2, and win round 3, round 4, round 5 for a unanimous decision. Give me Dricus du Plessis by 48-47 unanimous decision. And still, I think he's going to plot armor his way to a decision. I think he's just going to be able to survive those early rounds to see when Khamzat gets tired. I'm not that worried about Dricus du Plessis protecting his neck. Now, is it possible that Khamzat Chimaev goes out there, blast doubles him, and chokes him out in the first round? For sure. For sure, I'm not going to pretend like that's not a reality that we could live in, and that could happen this weekend. But the way I see this playing out, I do see it being competitive. I do see it going past 2 rounds. I think Dricus du Plessis can defend the submission attempts, the takedown attempts. Khamzat holding his back, I think he's going to be able to get back to his feet. Dricus is one of those dudes that just stands up when you're taken down. I think he's stronger than Khamzat. I think he's going to be able to stand up, defend his neck for the first 2 rounds, and then take over in the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th. Give me Dricus du Plessis by decision. I think Dricus is going to be able to do what Usman was doing, but just even better. Usman just ran out of time to beat Khamzat. He would have beat Khamzat if that was a 5-round main event or a 5-rounder. I think he would have beat Khamzat, and I think DDP's got enough time to be able to take the adjustments and accelerate in the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th to get that win. So give me Dricus du Plessis by tomfoolery unanimous decision, 48-47, and still the African champ, DDP, baby. That's the entire video, boys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did enjoy the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, drop it down in the comments who you guys are picking in the main event, and I will catch you guys in the next one. See you.